So in 2020, my podcast was acquired by Motley Fool. Tremendous success. It was awesome, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that's all done with. That's in the past. New chapter today is 2026. And I basically feel like I'm starting from scratch. And so this video is going to serve as a manifesto of what I'm trying to accomplish, why I'm doing this, what the benefits are of why, anyone listening to these types of videos, what they're going to benefit from. And I'm also just kind of going to walk through again my philosophy, sort of the outer game, sort of tactics, techniques, and the inner game of what's been sort of my inner game through all this process. And I'll wrap it up with essentially some case studies, examples. But again, if you're interested in sort of this philosophy, and the idea is books, right? But books as a vehicle to growth, and then just the extra layer there that I think books and growth in the space of also developing relationships. So if you're going to watch any part of this video, the next 30 seconds I think are the best. But basically, I have benefited tremendously from mentors and coaches giving me advice, but also I'll end it with sort of, hey, what's a great book you recommend or something you're reading right now or a good book in this subject area? Them giving me the recommendation. And then 2, 3 months later or a year later, I bump into them and say, hey, by the way, I read that book and, here's some insights I got from it. Here's some action I took from it. Oh, and by the way, here's the result of that action you recommended to me. And I find every time I do that, that person lights up. They're like, wow, like, oh, awesome. They want to engage and invest in that relationship. And I've benefited tremendously from just that little practice of asking other people, what do you like to read? What's good out there in this subject area, especially when I don't know anything and they're an expert in it. I'm reading now on leadership. So I went to some of the biggest people I know in business and said, hey, what are some classics? What do you recommend? And I'm just getting recommendations and just trying to dig through that. So just that like little 30-second thing there has been so empowering for my life. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do here. Just share some of those wins that I've had in my life. But also, again, let's dig in through kind of like the two examples I think about where, I'm 36 now. I remember when I graduated college, I remember I was reading this stat about how most people don't really read a book or two a year, right? It's like something like five, like people read on average like 5 books after graduating high school or college. And I was like, that's absurd. I feel like everyone's read Harry Potter or whatever, but it's like, but within the space of like self development or I mean, I would say like, just reading in general for the pursuit of growth, right? I think there's sort of leisure growth or sorry, leisure. And then there's like personal growth. So, again, new channel. I don't have a team anymore that's going to edit and put up the flashy things. And what I do know is that authenticity wins out. So here's me in the raw format. So bear with me as sort of this channel kicks off. But again, I would say in that avenue of growth, um, there's sort of the idea that I've got to admit that I don't know everything, that there's more to learn, that, I might get a better idea from, somebody that has a totally different background than me. And the other thing too is, kind of combine that with sort of the technique around it. For me, I love the short form videos. I love YouTube. I've learned, how to play piano or how to golf through YouTube. But the thing is, I find that I learn the best when I'm spending 6 to 8 hours into a topic. Because if I watch a short video, I'm like, yeah, I know how to do that now. That sounds great. But I don't internalize it. I don't actually practice it. And so I find that books have been that avenue. And so what I'm hoping to do is, yeah, you can get the cliff notes from here. But what I'm hoping you can do is also say, hey, oh, that's a great, topic on that personal finance investing piece. So I'm gonna read that classic, Ben Graham's Intelligent Investor. I'm gonna read that book because, it was recommended. So I'm hoping that I can offer just insights into different books I've read and then also share those stories of how this book, whatever, maybe this book helped me launch a course online that, made me $20,000 in a weekend. I'll probably do a video on that. Or I'll just do, hey, this book helped me internally with, this sort of roadblock around success. And I also know too from having, taught what are thousands of people probably within workshops for financial, personal finance. I also see that a lot of people are stuck at step 0 and they're trying to get to step 1. But what I love to teach are people who are at step 1 and trying to scale up because I find that it's almost easier to go from 1 to 100 than to go from 0 to 1. So I'll kind of share about all those topics. I'm really going to dig into essentially personal finance. Sure, I'll cover that one, but I feel like I've you know covered that plenty of times already. So it's really going to be more about how do I add value to an organization or to individual or to a community. And I think about that as you can do that as an entrepreneur. Today I'm doing that more within an organization in a structured 9 to 5 as an intrapreneur. And so I think about if I'm going to be an effective entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, there's certain skills that are going to be effective to delivering that value. And whether that's like communication or like product development or leadership that I'm learning about now, there's certain, or marketing or sales, there's certain skills that are going to be applicable across the entire kind of spectrum. And I'll say, within my 9 to 5 today, I'm a CPA, I do tax work, but I do know that I've got to be able to communicate with people in completely different silos within the business that have different incentives. They have different, backgrounds and the way they view the business. And so I find that if I'm going to be effective, I need to sort of understand, what's going through their head, what are their incentives. And so this channel is going to basically cover off on a lot of these um, different things that I've had to learn, a lot of different things that have been taught to me, and also just from, luckily, I've had a fun network along the way of people who are doing just completely different things, right? Um, and just sort of sharing the wins across what I've seen working well. So if you're into something like that, definitely subscribe. It's a new channel here in 2026. Pretty excited about the fact that I think today's day 10, January 10th, and so I think I'm 10 for 10 for videos this year. But again, yeah, leave a comment if there's been a book that you've read that you've really loved. Would love to see who's actually watching these channels, these videos early. And yeah, leave a comment on maybe a favorite book or something that inspired you to take action. And just sort of, yeah, I'd be interested to see sort of the direction that people want to go. Because for me, I'm kind of focusing in on self-development, ways to, again, provide more value, but also do it in a way where, again, it's more fun. I view it as sort of grounded, um, more present to the moment, you know, enjoying the journey sort of thing. And again, for me, even if no one watches, it's still a benefit. And I think about it as that was a big part of my success with the podcast back in 2020 getting acquired. So I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm doing something that I want to do that's a mission of mine. And so yeah, hope you kind of hop on for the journey and excited to see what 2026 brings. But yeah, leave a comment for a book you've read or something that you want to dig into. And I'd love to see if maybe I've already read the book, or I actually would love to get more recommendations. So I got more books to read. So I'm an avid reader. Yeah, and just excited to be bringing more to YouTube. So until next time,